Needs to return fire off the drop.
Seconds to bring it smart. Deep three. Good.
Sykes, who just kabooms! Tries to catch separation and caught. Beck Cole, there's the shot. The three, Cole drains it.
Oh, good pass by.
Double take. Don't need to be a millionaire to roll this kind of way. Yeah, I got the recipe to do it every day. Straight to the top, and that's where we gon' stay. Yeah. Step it up again. Yeah, yeah, we do it every day. Step it up, step it up again. Step it up again.
Play adventurous. Mitsubishi Motors NBL1.
Discover the ultimate in courts, Dream Courts, the official court partner of the NBL. As the leading experts in tailor-made courts, there are so many reasons to choose Dream Courts. Whether for casual backyard enjoyment or professional-grade competition, the fully customisable courts redefine how you play. Dream Courts offers an unparalleled playing experience for everyone. Elevate your game with a Dream Court designed just for you. Visit dreamcourts.com.au to get a quote today.
Good morning, barely. Everybody, welcome to the Mitsubishi Motors NBL1 South. We are live from the Kilsyth Sports Centre where the visiting Geelong Supercats, fresh off of a win at home last night, have travelled up the no, it's not the Monash there, is it? It's the Princes to take on the Kilsyth Cobras, who at this point in the season still winless, looking to break the duck here at home in front of I won't say a large crowd at the moment. It's still morning, That was the diplomatic way of putting it. There's still plenty of time. If you are watching from home, come on down the road. If you were going to go out for lunch, cancel that. Get some chips and a coffee from here. This is the best stadium coffee in Victoria. I'm putting it out there. But more about the action, less about the catering at this stage. The Cobras coming off of a loss last night against the powerhouse Dandenong Rangers, where reality is the Cobras stayed in it for the first half. They went into that break down by 1, and then the wheels fell off from there. The likes of the WNBL duo of Nigel Potch and Dallas Luffridge just kind of took over from there. I should say WNBL, Nigel Potch, obviously WNBA bound as well. So some highly skilled individuals at Dandenong doing the job against the Cobras last night, leaving them with a record of 0-7 and an eagerness to break the duck today. For Geelong, they went into this weekend at 1-5. They pulled off the win last night in the dying seconds of that game against Mount Gambier, with Shanice Swain coming up clutch, a big three-pointer to put their squad ahead, and they held off Cherie Collier at the end to take out the win. So a brilliant win for the Cats, who, the former Cats, no longer the Super Cats. I apologise. I had a big email about that as well. So Geelong United sitting at 2-4, but they have won 2 of their last 3. So starting to find some form, getting into a rhythm. Funnily enough, their only loss in their last 3 games, also against Dandenong, who currently sit atop the NBL1 South ladder. And the fact that it's them and not a Bendigo team after last week's shock, I'm still kind of processing at the moment. However, enough about that. The 2 teams are on the court. The tip will be contested between both of the imports for the Cobras. TYRA Whitehead suiting up for her 3rd match for the Cobras, and Jada Rice, who has started very strong in her couple of games for Geelong so far. Tip forthcoming. It goes the way of Geelong. Get first use of the ball through the prodigy in Swain, who the Cobras will need to try to shut down if they're going to be any chance in this one. Rice to the hoop. Late foul called against Whitehead. The extra spin just did enough to draw the foul. Whitehead helps up her opponent, but commits her first foul a mere 15 seconds into this one. If there's anything that our new imports to this league are probably susceptible to more than anything else, especially ones fresh off the plane, are early fouls and just getting used to the level of contact that you can get away with in the NBL1 South and the contact that you can't. Back into Rice against Whitehead. Eager to keep her hands out this time. Rice takes advantage and the lefty hook opens a scoring for Geelong United. Rice averaging 18.5 points coming into this one, plus or minus what she scored last night. Whitehead right back with a spin move of her own on the right hand. A battle of the bigs to begin this one. Rice last night had 9 points, 14 rebounds, so a monster on the boards. Swain to the hoop, big foul there. Whitehead, I'm pretty sure, is about to come off, as that's her 2nd foul in less than a minute. Not the ideal start, and you can see Coach Watkins' head just immediately drop at his prized centre, immediately in foul trouble. So to the line will go Shanice Swain. An enormous season for the youngster in the WNBL. And obviously a pretty decorated junior career. She's come down south to play for Geelong, having grown up in Queensland. 2 of 2 to begin this one. Fellow WNBA draft pick, I talked about Nigel Potch before, but Swain's had her name called out as well. 14th by the Sparks, no less, so she'll be seeing some American action soon, one would hope. Still plenty of time. Nice back cut. Georgia Booth couldn't get the layup to go. Probably robs Tegan Cunningham with the assist, and then the rebound goes out off a Kilsyth. Geelong ball. As much as last night ended up ugly for the Kilsyth women, there was one highlight that made the socials of it. Similar bucket scored by Haberfield on that back cutter. Swain muscles her way to the basket. No basket. Offensive foul is called. Referee was right there and saw it push off. Shanice Swain picks up the offensive foul, only her first for the day. The bench was up. They looked excited that that one had counted. Score remains 4 points to 2. McBean open for 3. That one goes right. Booth trying to contest the rebound. Almost does enough to grab it. Go on the floor. She goes. Left me lost for words. Ellsworthy driving the other way, pulls up against Whitehead. The shot goes left, and Tegan Cunningham sweeps with that rebound. Booth, as Petrie ahead of her, goes in to Whitehead. Skip pass, McBean wide open. That one goes left as well. Couple of empty trips to the Cobras where they would have wanted baskets out of them. Had some pretty good looks. Ellsworthy goes to the rack, loses control, gets it back out to Petrie. She will re-enter going via Booth, cops the bump. Shot doesn't go. Ellsworthy, shortest one down there, almost earns it for herself, and it comes out off of her hands in the contest with TYRA Whitehead. Cobras get another stop. They've just got to capitalise now on the offensive end. It'll be McBean to do the ball handling duties. Rough pass, and that's cross court now. It's come off of the Geelong hand. And Cunningham doesn't believe it. The referee's telling her to kind of pipe down a little bit. I think the issue was she may have grabbed the ball before she herself crossed the line, rather than dancing with the line and jumping over it first. I'm guessing that's the issue, but there wasn't really a visual explanation forthcoming from the referee at the very least. A turnover for the Cobras. Still only the 2 points on the board. We're 2.5 minutes into this. Rice, they've only got 5 on the shot clock. It was a short shot clock given the cross-court violation, so the 3 was no good from Scannell. Young thought about pulling up. Rough pass to Booth, who catches, twists around at her body and shoots it anyway. Georgia Booth, a big 3 to open her account for the afternoon. That gives the Cobras a 1-point lead early on in this first. Ellsworthy still doing her thing for Geelong. Thought she was fouled on that one and wasn't whistled. Young through Swain, draws a hands foul. Now that's Shanice Swain's second foul, early stages of this one. The referee saying everything needs to calm down a little bit there, but the reality is Shanice Swain now in some semblance of early foul trouble. Now her and Whitehead both on 2. They have both of their team fouls respectively, both in the game still. Young uses the pin down screen. Screen assist can go to Tegan Cunningham for that one, but Nikita Young finishes the 3. Swain the other way, gets via Young, cops the bump, puts it up as a continuation. It counts. Nikita Young picks up the foul, and Swain will head to the line for 1. Great finish after the bump and through a fair bit of pressure for Shanice Swain. Who, I've got to say, I've been looking forward to this game for a bit, just to see her in action, because she had such a good season in the WNBL and just has a prodigious junior career. The pass went out of Whitehead's hands. Turnover again for the Cobras. That's a second and only a couple of trips down here. The fast break opportunity goes begging. Swain back cuts. It's read by Young. Now Young picks up her second. The whistles are firing this afternoon. We're 3.5 minutes into it. 6 fouls already called. And they're only spread out amongst 3 people because Nikita Young, TYRA Whitehead, and then for Geelong, Shanice Swain, each playing with 2 personal fouls apiece. May see a bit of the benches start to empty sooner rather than later for both squads at this rate, as Swain makes her first. No mistake on the second, retakes the lead for Geelong. Young to the rack, it opened up for her, but she went too hard on the finger roll, ends up in the lap of Ellsworthy. She wants to draw the foul on Young. Young does well to avoid it. Petrie decides to put it up in the early shot clock. Fight for the rebound. Rice wins it right over the top of Cunningham. Earns another possession for Geelong, and then Scannell missed the 3. Could be a third one there. It's off. It is a third possession, as Rice did well enough to get it out of the hands of Whitehead, and so Geelong will have the ball baseline with 14 on their shot clock. Late sub coming in. That'll be Caitlin Cunningham. She will come in to replace TYRA Whitehead, who will sit with her couple of fouls. Haberfield also coming in, replacing McBean at the point guard position. Rice against Caitlin Cunningham. Swain stops and pops over Booth. No good. Cunningham wards off Jess Scannell and kicks it out to the outlet. Young, backtracked, thought about the shot, but was closed out upon. And then Ellsworthy disrupts the pass, so Cobra's ball. They'll have 12 on their shot clock from the side. Now Geelong making their sub. In will come Jasmine King. She's going to replace Jess Scannell. So leaving Swain out there with the 2 fouls. And she's doing the bulk of your scoring. There's a pretty good reason why you do that. The entry pass is just tipped by Swain. Her arms deceptively long, catching Haberfield unaware. Another turnover for the Cobras. And then a beautiful pick and roll move. Jade Rice just in the exact right spot that you want your centre to be in. And Swain doesn't let her down. Cunningham looking to hand off to Young. Her path is cut off by Rice, so she goes right. Finds a gap up with the right. Couldn't get enough English to bounce it up off the rim. But she'll get the ball back because completely unaware of the ball was King, who lost it from Rice. Now one-on-one with Caitlin Cunningham. Blocked by Rice. Picked up by Booth underneath. Hook shot's short. Another contest to the rebound. People everywhere. Jump ball is called with the Cobras possession. Jade Rice down on the ground. She gets picked up by Haberfield. Having to do some heavy lifting there, Sarah Haberfield, given the height difference between her and Jade Rice. And out come our court crew. I think I heard the 16-5 girls are on today, although they've managed to just offload that to Sarah Haberfield to do the job. She's done that plenty throughout her junior career, so she knows what to do. 14 on the shot clock off the jump ball. The pass to Tegan Cunningham was wide. She had to go chase that. Cunningham now isolated, stops for a long 2. Nothing but the back iron in the net. Tegan Cunningham's on the board. Cobras needed that after a couple of empty possessions. Ellsworthy, nice cross, gets it in. No, can't quite get it to Rice. Swooping was Tegan Cunningham. They've got numbers. Open jump shot back into Cunningham. Haberfield picks up the dime. Good fast break basketball for Kilsyth. They're back in the lead. Haberfield had the open range jumper, but an even better percentage. Swain just got to the hoop over Cunningham. And another 2 for her, finishing again with a lot of contact. None illegal, mind you. Young tries to replicate down the other end. That foul is called. It'll be on Jade Rice, coming in a little bit later than expected. So Nikita Young will head to the line for her first opportunity from the stripe this afternoon. Hannah Day will come in for some mid-first quarter minutes, replacing Nikita Young. Both squads a little less than full strength this afternoon. The Cobras are missing Paige Price with illness, as Nikita Young misses her first. Geelong going in without Kobe King-Hawea, who is here today but not dressed. So she's not quite ready to go again, and they've Young taps it out of court after an empty trip to the stripe, uncharacteristic. Geelong also losing Poppy Stevens last night to a gruesome hand injury. Hopefully that's something that'll heal up in no time, but that wasn't one for the faint of heart to see. Caitlin Cunningham cuts off the pass early. Cobras will get a full shot clock to work with. Hannah Day doesn't mind. She'll just go to the rack. Almost got herself open. The pass to Caitlin Cunningham, not good. Picked up really nicely. Blocked out of court. Nikita Young out of nowhere. That looked like a certain Geelong bucket as Jasmine King went up uncontested, or so she thought. Swatted out of court by Nikita Young. A scrappy possession, but the Cobras get away with it due to that last-ditch effort. Now it's Rice using her step through nicely. Got through her 2 defenders. And Jade Rice is adding to her account and a successful start to this season with the Geelong squad. Young thinks about the 3. Looking for the risky pass into Tegan Cunningham. Never really on. The fast break pass never quite made it to Stevens. We've managed, to King, although it's Swain from 3-point land. No good. Day's having a fight for the rebound with Ellsworthy. It's another jump ball. This time it'll be Geelong's turn. Yarmayan will come into the game for her first minute. She's replacing Shanice Swain because, again, 2 early fouls, but carried the offensive load there, but probably not keen to pick up her 3rd foul at this early stage of the game, but late stages of the first quarter. Ellsworthy open enough for that, no good. Young Skies for the rebound, turns into some resistance, manages to keep control of the ball. Young couldn't quite get it out to Cunningham, just has to muscle away through Petrie, gets fairly open, finds it even more open. Hannah Day for three, that hits the side of the backboard. Tegan Cunningham fights for that rebound, fades away and scores a good scrappy bucket for Tegan Cunningham. She's up to, I believe, 4 points. Timeout Geelong, late stages of the first quarter. They lead by a solitary point at this stage, but the Cobras, they can come down and make runs of 4 or 5 points at a time. They've done that a few times just to kind of stay in this one at this stage. So at parts scrappy, at parts exciting, but an interesting nonetheless start to this one between the Geelong United side and the Kilsyth Cobras. There's a point here to mention that one of the major sponsors of the Mitsubishi Motors NBL1 South, other than the likes of Mitsubishi Motors, is of course Bartercard. You'll see their advertising at the ends of the court and on the referees' shirts. You can grow your business with Bartercard and you can increase your profits. Bartercard's for business owners and converts unutilised capacity and excess stock into new customers when you want them. There are thousands of cardholders across Australia trading millions of dollars outside the cash economy each year. Bartercard's committed to helping businesses, charities and sporting organisations like us and like the NBL1 grow through an ecosystem of business owners who support each other by exchanging Bartercard trade dollars. Use trade dollars to pay for goods and services instead of paying with your hard-earned cash. We're in a cost of living crisis, people. The more hard-earned cash you can keep, the better. Grow your business with Bartercard and increase your profits. You can visit bartercard.com.au, look for their link to the Basketball Victoria section of their site, and you can find out how Bartercard can help you boost your business. bartercard.com.au. Back into this one, Geelong having to travel up the court after the giving up a bucket prior to that timeout. Petrie, top of the key, couldn't get through Cunningham, tries again, almost does this time, tries to spin. She really earned that bucket, did Lasha Petrie. She's travelled here all the way from Detroit, Michigan, and she almost made it that distance on that possession alone, so she really earned that. Haberfield looking for her pass. The pass today was cut off and eventually gets around to Caitlin Cunningham. Passes to her sister, mid-range jumper in the face of Mayan. Mayan does well enough, but Caitlin picks in the rebound. Dishes off to Haberfield. It's got to be someone free somewhere. Booth tries to penetrate, pulls up from the free throw line. No good, and a push in the back foul. It'll be between either Cunningham or Booth. Cunningham's talking more about it. It will be Tegan Cunningham picking up her first personal foul. She's the Cobras' leading scorer at this point with 6 points so far in this one. And given the foul was on the rebound contest, the free throws will be forthcoming for Sarah Ellsworthy, who did enough to box out, and now she earns a couple of opportunities to score down here without having to do much more work on her own end. Makes her first. So decorated career for Sarah Ellsworthy. Almost Rookie of the Year in 2019 in the WNBL when she was with the Adelaide team. Has had a sojourn into footy as well, as of at least one of our Cobras here, one or two. Tegan Cunningham being the most successful of them. Caitlin, however, has the ball taken out of her hands. It's Ellsworthy again to the rack. Uses her step through nicely. Goes too long on the layup. Almost tipped back in accidentally by Tegan Cunningham. Gets it out to Georgia Booth. The pass was right behind Mayan's head. Booth stops, pops, no good. Hannah Day fighting for the rebound. That's ripped out of her hand by King. Petrie now just stops and pops. That goes front iron, no good. Day, fast break opportunity again. This time it's Tegan Cunningham finishing strong at the bucket. The Cobras looking to run, and they look good when they do. Tegan Cunningham's up to 8. Second highest scorer of the game, behind Shanice Swain, who had 9 early points. King kicks out. Mayan decides against the three, goes to Petrie. She does the same, gets to the hoop, gets past 2 Cobras. Not enough English on it. Rice fouled from behind. Haberfield not necessarily in agreement with that, as her body language suggests, but to the line will go Jada Rice, pardon me. as Jess Scannell sprints from the bench, knowing she's coming into this one, replacing Lasha Petrie. So we Jada Rice from Suwannee, Georgia, on the outskirts of Atlanta. Played some NCAA ball across the southern states, North Carolina State, and then at Alabama. And then spent last season with Norwood in the NBL1 Central. Come down to Geelong and has made a really big impact on that team to start. Makes both her free throws that trip down. It's a 5-point game. Very late stages of the first quarter. Booth bobbled the ball but kept control. Step back just inside the 3-point line. Georgia Booth confident in putting that one up, and that's why. Scannell couldn't make the back cut pass. Goes to the top of the key to Ellsworthy. She gets some space. Fouled on a long jumper. Haberfield says it was ball. The referee says no, it wasn't. Now Sarah Haberfield picks up the second. Second in as many trips down the court, no less. So Ellsworthy will be back to the free throw line. No mistake with her first. She's 81% on the season up until this weekend. So she knows what she's doing from that very spot, as evidenced by making 2 of 2. 40 seconds left. Haberfield trying to get free of Ellsworthy. Does so eventually. Looking for the entry pass. There's Caitlin Cunningham on the block. Gets a bit of room with the right hook. Goes a bit long with it. Scannell picks up the rebound. Shot clock is off. 20 seconds left in this first quarter. Chance for Geelong to extend their 5-point lead. Ellsworthy, 8 on the clock. Gets held up at the free throw line. Puts it up. Righty hook. Had more time than that. Manages to get her own rebound, though. That's taken by Haberfield. She just stops, knowing she's not getting anywhere from there. Good lockdown D from the Cobras, especially individually by Haberfield in that possession, keeping their 5-point deficit intact going into the first quarter break. It is Geelong 23, Kilsyth 18. Geelong led scoring-wise by the prodigious Shanice Swain. That's going to be a tongue twister for me, I apologise. Shanice, she has 9 points in her 6.5 minutes. Jada Rice sneaking up on that tally as well. She has 8. For the Cobras, it's Tegan Cunningham, 8 points, 4 of 5 shooting to start this one. She's picked up 3 rebounds to go along with that as well. She's backed up by Georgia Booth with 5, and a couple of single buckets to Young and to Whitehead going into that as well. But Whitehead, 2 personal fouls very early in this one, spent a bit of time on the bench. Swain has 2 of her own. Haberfield has 2 of her own as well. Plenty of whistling happening down there. Plenty of inventive thinking happening down there, if you could see on the camera as well. It may be behind the graphics, but the 14-5 girls deciding they can do a better job of sweeping the court if someone's sitting on the towel. You don't knock it if it works. I think I heard her saying the other day, if it's a stupid idea and it works, it's not a stupid idea, although someone has just injured their coccyx. Worth pointing out at this stage a couple of our other NBL1 South sponsors. I mentioned the referees' shirts before. Resplendent on the back of their shirt, the RSL logo. We thank the RSL for their sponsorship of the NBL1 South. We've got obviously KO Freebies. Foot Locker has been on board for a couple of years now as well. We've got a naming rights sponsor in Mitsubishi Motors. And then from a local perspective, the Kilsyth Cobras couldn't be here without the support of the likes of WM Waste Management, our major sponsor. Those are the logos on the top of the Kilsyth tops. Their company, Yarra Valley Waste, also major sponsors of our VYC program. More news on the VYC shortly, as they played this morning, which explains the absence of my colleague Jen, who's on the bench for them. We'll score update on that shortly. But as it stands, Cobras 5 points down in their attempt to break their duck this season, which stands at 0-7. There's been interrupted pre-seasons. There have been new players coming in. Even today with Paige Price out with illness, there's unavailability every now and then. Problems that are going to come up with a lot of teams, but the Cobras looking to find a groove, and they're hoping to do that today. On the other hand, if Geelong can pull this one out and continue the way they're going, then they're a fairly rough start to the season. We'll be interrupted with 3 out of 4 wins as TYRA Whitehead with a nice little floater assisted by McBean to open the second quarter scoring. Pardon me. Swain is back into this one, gets to the hoop, finds Petrie outside. She's closed in upon by Tegan Cunningham, gets up a mid-range jumper. Rice does well to tap it out of the hands of Whitehead, but only ends up out of bounds. Empty trip for Geelong. First possession of the second quarter for them. The Cobras in a little bit too hard going for the spoil there. Lasha Petrie picks up her first personal foul. Early in the shot clock for the Cobras, they've still got 20 to work with. Now it's Booth on the right side. Goes a little further right to McBean. Entry pass into Tegan Cunningham. She has Swain on her back. Skip pass back out. Young almost got to the hoop, had it stripped out of her hands before she'd even realised what happened by Lasha Petrie. Ellsworthy mismatched inside, just goes up over the top of Young. Not a whole lot you could do there. Jada Rice overtakes Shanice Swain as a game-leading scorer. Booth managed to pin her pivot foot down despite the loss of balance. Avoided the travel. Much to the chagrin of Coach Jamie Petty down there on the sidelines, who thought he saw a little bit of a lift of that pivot foot. Cobra swing it out of the sideline play. 10 on their shot clock. Dumped into Whitehead. Puts up a very short shot. She thought she was fouled. The referee disagrees. Swain coming the other way. Avoids driving into the back of Whitehead. Fades away. No good. The rebound dribbles out to Kitty Young. Fast break opportunity again for Tegan Cunningham. Leaves it to the right. Georgia Booth trying to do the dirty work. Picks up after for the rebound and manages to put it in herself. Rescues her teammate. Now the referees have stopped play here. They're calling something to the bench. I don't know if it was a court wiper or some clarification required from the Kilsyth bench, but seems to have been sorted out. Swain had it taken out of her hand. She regained control. It's Scannell now pulling up from the elbow. No good. Rice almost reeled in another rebound, but it just hits the line on the way down. So the Cobras have 2 consecutive buckets to begin this one. They've, pardon me, no, Geelong did score in that time. I forgot about the Jade Rice bucket. Tegan Cunningham to McBean, back into Cunningham, who's posting up against the shorter Swain, pulls up from mid-range. She's struggling to miss tonight, other than a cheeky little layup attempt that she missed before. Tegan Cunningham's up to 10. Fade away from the elbow, which looked pretty for the moment. It left her hand. Illegal screen to be called here on Jada Rice, which negates the bucket. But she picks up. Our scoreboard is looking a little uninformative at the moment as they go through a couple of issues. It's got a very big logo on it for what it's worth. That was Jada Rice's second foul. McBean, chance for the Cobras to retake the lead in this possession. Whitehead's pass to Booth was telegraphed the right word? Either way, Ellsworthy stole it, knew it was coming from a mile away. Jess Scannell as open as she's going to be all night. Cashes in with a big 3. And where I was talking moments ago about Kilsyth potentially retaking the lead, they're back down by 4. Booth, she drew the mismatch. Tegan Cunningham demanding the ball down low. The pass doesn't hit her target hand, but Booth picks up the scraps. Another 3, Georgia Booth. Both of her triples have come from passes that haven't been really in the ideal spot. She's managed to correct it. And splash. Swain blocked. No foul is called as Cunningham, I think, accepted that. And then Swain went down hard on the ground. She's holding the back of her head. As the teammates emerge, the referee keeps a safe distance just to try to assess what's going on here. The hands go up. I think she's all right. Just needs a moment. Shanice Swain will stay in this one. She regains her bearings and heads to the free throw line. The crowd Crowd goes a little quiet, just partially out of a little concern for the opposition, and now they're starting to spark up. We see some feet hitting stands at the moment, potentially part of the cause of the missed free throw. Although a giant whack to the head probably didn't help that either. Swain makes no mistake with the second. Over 80% on the season is Shanice Swain, so not a common miss. Young to the hoop, went right past Scannell. And a quick response from the Cobras. It's tied at 29. Rice left out fairly alone there. Swain tries to scoop it up. Booth had her arms up. She keeps her hands up and she decides against arguing that one. Shanice Swain will return to the line. And a few trips there tonight. Is brilliant at getting to the hoop and drawing contact. She is... The stats are just still updating. I believe she is 6 of 7 from the line tonight. Haberfield's back in. She replaces Nikita Young. First is good. And that 1 point scored from that bucket is now the Geelong United squad's lead. And that's doubled with that one. Swain is now up to 13 points. Reclaims her crown as the game-leading scorer. Georgia Booth looking to tie her in that spot. That three is no good, but it's chased down by McBean. She read the long rebound better than anybody. The pass almost over half court. Booth does well to pick that up. Looking to get into Tegan Cunningham. She's mobbed by 4 Geelong players. They read that one. Swain almost pulls up for the three. Got the Cobras jumping. And then the entry pass doesn't quite make it to Jada Rice. Cunningham. Nice shot fake. Couldn't get the little lay-in to go. Booth again under the bucket to the rebound. Tip pass in. Tegan Cunningham in the second try. Couple of bounces off the rim, and that's good. A nice little setup by TYRA Whitehead, the touch pass. And the Cobras have tied it back up at 31 apiece. Tegan Cunningham is up to 12 points. She's actually, I thought it was 13 for Shanice Swain. She's only on 12. I shouldn't say only. That's the equal high for the game, mind you. Both squads led by 12-point scorers, Cunningham and Swain, followed up by 10-point scorers. Geelong has Jada Rice, and the Cobras have Georgia Booth. Geelong's game last night, an 81-79 win. With, again, I think it was about 12 seconds left on the clock when Shanice Swain hit a big three to put him ahead, and then the defensive stop at the end to prevent the Sharika Leah three. And Geelong were able to run out winners. As I said, starting to build a bit of momentum now, starting to get into the swing of things. They lost their first three. They've since won 2 of 3. This will be a chance to make it 3 of 4 if they can prevail today. Mind you, look at some of the losses. They've had a pretty rough beginning because they started against Ballarat, which, you know, they're a pretty good squad. Then since they've had Bendigo, obviously the juggernaut that is Bendigo. That was followed by 2 days later, away at Keilor, who I thought was the team that was going to be the only chance to knock off Bendigo before Sandringham proved me wrong. And then Dandenong, who sit atop the ladder. So 3 of those 4 losses coming against probably the powerhouses of this NBL1 South competition. The inbound pass just goes right through the hands of Swain. Booth missed the gimme, but it was Haberfield in the right spot at the right time. So disastrous opening back up to proceedings for the Geelong squad. Haberfield tries to go to the rack, wide open. Tegan Cunningham, foot was on the line. The shot clock goes off in the background. Shot misses anyway. Geelong get away with it after flubbing the lines on their inbounds play. Ellsworthy just went right to the rack, but it goes long and then rolls out of her hands. She couldn't read the spin. Jada Rice gives her a pat on the back. Chaotic beginning. I wouldn't even say a beginning. It was just out of the timeout, but I don't know if anyone's had clean possession of the ball the whole time. Amongst all that madness, Hannah Day's checked back in for the Cobras, replacing Sarah Haberfield. Now there's an offensive foul down low. I was watching the ball, but it is called on Georgia Booth, so a little back screen they like to run under the bucket there might not have been done overly legally. That's Booth's first. It's the third team foul for the Cobras, and we aren't quite halfway through this quarter. Whitehead was doing up her shoelaces, and play resumed. She's wanting it to have stopped. They left Petrie fairly open. And then the rebound bobbled out of court by Jada Rice, who had to contend with Tyra Whitehead in a freshly, if not hastily, done up shoelace. Now it's McBean. Couple of empty trips for both squads. Cunningham was just holding it, trying to hold it loose of Swain. She stripped it anyway, almost came up with the possession. And now Cobra's on a 5-on-4 as Swain tries to rejoin the action. Cunningham missed the mid-ranger. McBean does well to keep it in. Now Whitehead, mid-range jumper, just to somewhat pretty up this ugly series of possessions by both teams. Finally, the ball hits the bottom of the net via Tyra Whitehead. The other way, Shanice Swain almost makes the same thing happen down the other end. Whitehead had the ball stripped late call by the referee, saw the hand contact on the arms. And that'd be on Lasha Petrie. That's her second foul. As Yamaen comes back into this. Mayen has had a 3.5 minutes so far in this one, so she'll add to that before half-time. Booth uses a screen, gets enough of a gap, gets her own rebound. She must be racking the boards up, Georgia Booth. There's another one. Kicks it out. Hannah Day doesn't miss from there. Big three-pointer for Hannah Day after the hustle and 2 offensive rebounds from Georgia Booth. Now Tegan Cunningham trying to put a contest on the ball from Jasmine King. Goes a little too hard, picks up the personal foul. And I'm trying to figure out, I reckon they might be holding up the number 3 paddle. They are, so Tegan Cunningham's third personal foul. She will be replaced by her big sister Caitlin. Cobras have opened up a 5-point lead with a couple of buckets and a couple of stops down the other end. Ellsworthy into the key, gets stuck. Mayen. Pull-up jumper, looked all right, but goes a little long. I reckon the shortest player on the court, and King managed to get the rebound. And the Mayen tried to drive, but couldn't quite get the handoff to Jada Rice. Another empty trip up the court for Geelong. Dangerous entry pass. That was read from a mile away by Ellsworthy, but fought off 3 Geelong players. Did Caitlin Cunningham to resume the possession. McBean felt confident putting that one up. It goes long. Caitlin Cunningham gets 3-4 bites of the cherry, but it's eventually taken out of the hands by Jasmine King. Again, a scrappy possession. Swain almost travels. Looks to go to the rack. Does well to draw the contact. Finishes strong on the ground again. Big bucket, Shanice Swain. Hannah Day went a little too hard trying to block the path to the bucket there, and she picks up the foul, but a huge bucket, both in terms of just the degree of difficulty, but also the situation of the game there, where that 5-point lead, the Cobras threatened to score a couple more buckets in a row. Swain stems that with a 3-point play. Puts up to 15 on the afternoon, pardon me. Whitehead got stuck, had to wait for a teammate to come to her. Booth open, used her fake, but couldn't quite get completely free. It's Day, 5 on the shot clock. Whitehead goes, top of the key, 3, no good. Dartboards into the chest of Jada Rice for an easy rebound. That's her 6th of the day. Swain spinning, getting to the ground again. This time no foul. Rice tried to go up hard, blocked from behind by Hannah Day. Again, the spin from Cunningham was read well enough by Ellsworthy, and then the pass from Swain to Ellsworthy cut off. Ellsworthy almost earns it back, and Booth just stops and says, let's all settle down, everybody. Goes to the rack, gets enough space from the free throw line. Georgia Booth acting as the wise head out there despite a sea of chaos. She brings her own account up to 12 points. Swain caught her unaware, gets to the hoop. Just a lapse, even a split-second lapse of concentration, and Shanice Swain takes advantage. She has 17. And again, the passing lanes by both teams are really being disrupted at the moment. Booth wide open. Front iron no good. Swain gets the rebound, does the ball handling herself. McBean eventually meets her. Gets past McBean, hands in the right spot. Avoids the foul. The pass outlet to Caitlin Cunningham is almost saved, but she steps on the line. And there was one word that came out of her mouth, but I'm hoping the effects mic didn't pick that up. Time out after I've got to say, a chaotic 4 minutes by both squads here. So as much as the timeout was called by Coach Mark Watkins, I'm not sure if Jamie Petty will be overly upset with having to rally his troops as well. It's the Cobras by 2 in a mad second quarter, and we've still got a minute and a half left in it. Shanice Swain has 17 points as the game-leading scorer, managing to get to the hoop almost at will. And I think the last bucket she scored is a brilliant demonstration of just knowing when to pull the trigger and get herself into the paint. She's backed up by Jada Rice, who has 10.7 boards for the Cobras. It's a two-headed attack of Tegan Cunningham and Georgia Booth. Each have 12 points. And then Whitehead next best with 6 of her own. Kind of using this opportunity to take somewhat of a breath here. It's been a chaotic Saturday afternoon so far. Again, Geelong is going to be really looking to build some momentum here. They've won 2 of the last 3. They want to ideally make that 3 the last 4 if they had their way. The Cobras still looking for their first win. They may be sensing it. We've got a second timeout. You got him, you may as well use him. So Coach Watkins says, you know what, let's sit down for a little longer. It was funny to watch because as Coach Petty's down there saying, well, hang on a minute, are they allowed to do that? They've got him, you can use him. Still talking. He's upset about something or other. Thought it interesting prior to the game that the Cobras, the 20-minute clock for the warm-up started up, and it wasn't until about 13 minutes left on that clock that the Cobras emerged. It was MC Robbie Mason and I pegging up random three-pointers just for a little while there at one point. So Cobras obviously with a lot on their mind, and this is an opportunity for Coach Watkins to just kind of get everyone's heads in the right spot and go through what they've talked about before the game, and a little cheeky opportunity to chat before halftime. Use it as a bit of a second halftime break, if you will. So the score bench rings the buzzer and says, that's enough timeouts for now. And yet no one really keen to emerge. They're starting to now. It seems like a while ago since we had any action, but it'll be the Geelong United squad's ball. Should be inbounded by Yamayan into Captain Sarah Ellsworthy. We've got through almost all of Smoke in the Water in that gap, so we're towards the outro now, which not really known for the outro as Mayan gets to the rack but couldn't quite get over Caitlin Cunningham. Long pass down, extra pass, nicely done. Kilsyth, Hannah Day started it, Georgia McBean continued it. And TYRA Whitehead with the easy bucket. That's a reward for running the court as a big. Cobras by 4. Petrie, the lazy pass from Mayan's picked off by McBean. And she finishes down the other end as well. The Cobras with 4 quick points out of the double timeout. Whatever Coach Watkins had to say seems to be working. And now the Cobras set up in a 2-3 zone as a bit of a different look. They may have in the last possession. It went for such a short amount of time that I may have missed it. Mayan runs into a wall. The foul is called. Who's it going to be on? The refs will converge. Whitehead's arm was there. She went flying. Was it an offensive foul on Yamayan, or was there an arm in the wrong spot? The refs haven't quite decided yet. The original fist that went up was in the air, which would suggest a defensive foul. The jump ball being the call from that. Now, Geelong will keep the possession given that Kilsyth started the quarter with it. 5 on their shot clock. They have to go. Petrie picks it up, foot on the line. Big bucket. Lash of Petrie fouls under the bucket. And the foul will be called. It's after the basket, so the 2 will still count. I reckon it may even be Shanice Swain down there. It is. Big rebound contest again. I was ball watching, so I didn't quite make out what happened there. But that means a wash-up of that. As much as the bucket counts, Shanice Swain picks up her 3rd personal foul before half-time. So Jess Scannell will come in for the last 25 seconds. That is to say, the shot clock's a second inside the game clock. Cobras by 4. Was 6 before that big bucket from Petrie. Don't necessarily want to rush this. 10 on their shot clock now. Now's when they start really looking for the score. Whitehead mid-range looks good over Jada Rice. It's TYRA Whitehead starting to find some form. 1 second. Jess Scannell from half court hits the net but doesn't go in. The Cobras go into the halftime break up by 6. And there's not many times this season you've been able to say that. So this might be the day for the Kilsyth Cobras to break their duck. Geelong will head to their rooms looking to try to regain some of the form that they've displayed over the last couple of weeks and get themselves back into this one, but they're going to have to do so with Shanice Swain on 3 personal fouls. She's stuffed the scoreboard because she has 17 points to be far and away the game-leading scorer. She's backed up by Jada Rice, who has 10 points and 7 rebounds. For the Cobras, it's Tegan Cunningham with 12 points, Georgia Booth with 12 as well, 6 rebounds, but 5 of those offensive. She hasn't let a possession go to waste. And then TYRA Whitehead has crept up to 10 points of her own. So scorers across the board for both squads. Be really interesting to see who's going to come out of the halftime break with, I guess, either the change to get the Geelong United squad back into this, or for the Cobras to run away with it. Which way it'll go, we'll have no idea until we get back. We will see you shortly. It's Kilsyth 44, Geelong 38.
Get around ducks. Get around dimes and drives. Get around the boards, blocks and threes. Get around your team, the community, the big moments and the celebrations of Mitsubishi Motors NBL1. The rise, the fall, the wins and the redemptions of 2024. Get around it. Mitsubishi Motors NBL1 2024. Watch live and free on the NBL1 website, app and KO freebies.
Fasten up your seatbelts, do a double take. Don't need to be a millionaire to roll this kind of way. Yeah, I got the recipe to do it every day. Straight to the top, and that's where we gon' stay. Step it up again. Yeah, we do it every day. Step it up, step it up again. Step it up again.
Play adventurous. Mitsubishi Motors NBL1.
Discover the ultimate in courts, Dream Courts, the official court partner of the NBL. As the leading experts in tailor-made courts, there are so many reasons to choose Dream Courts. Whether for casual backyard enjoyment or professional-grade competition, the fully customisable courts redefine how you play. Dream Courts offers an unparalleled playing experience for everyone. Elevate your game with a Dream Court designed just for you. Visit dreamcourts.com.au to get a quote today.
Welcome back to the Mitsubishi Motors NBL1 South. We are at the Kilsyth Sports Centre where the home team, the Kilsyth Cobras, hold a 6-point lead over the visiting Geelong United squad. My name is Aaron Tate. I'll be here to take you through the second half, flying solo today. My colleague Jen Rushgrove is with the Big V team, the VYC squad. I did promise an update on them before. I've broken that promise, so I'm going to race through there now and give you some progress on that one. That'll be forthcoming. But as for this one, been a really exciting, if not scrappy game. Sometimes brilliant, sometimes ugly, and everything in between. Game high scorer at the moment is Shanice Swain, who has 17 points and is really showing just why she is such a highly rated kid and dare I say, destined to be an opal at this stage. She is showing her wares today. The only blight on her record this afternoon is 3 fouls, which may play into the proceedings here this afternoon, but we will find out whether she can manage that or if she spends a bit more time on the bench. She's supported in her team by Jada Rice, who was doing her job down low with 10 points and how many rebounds did I say it was? I think it was 7. It is, so 10 and 7 for her. The Cobras currently led by 12 points from each of Tegan Cunningham, who at one point could barely miss from the mid-range, and Georgia Booth, who's got the same amount of points, more so from outside than anything else. And really probably a start that Coach Watkins is really hoping for the Cobras to be able to capitalise on, because they haven't been able to do that as much. Bear in mind, last night the Cobras at Dandenong were down by 1 at half-time, ended up losing by 30. So the first half has been okay for them. Can they hold on this time and manage their first win of the season? Or will Geelong manage to come back up and end up winning their third game in the last 4 games? We're 20 game minutes away from being able to answer that for you. Third hasn't started yet, and already a slight issue on the bench. May have been a spilled drink bottle or something along those lines. We are underway. Almost stolen out of McBean's hands to begin the third quarter. His hands everywhere. Geelong really starting strong, and they win the possession. There's Lasha Petrie's hands with a second last to touch it. Nikita Young, the guilty party there. So big defensive pressure from Geelong to begin this one, and it's paid off immediately. Big turnover within the first 10 seconds. Scannell has a bit more room to work with down there than the Cobras did down the other end. Petrie uses the screen, gets in, no help D, so scoops it up off the backboard, pardon me. First blood to Geelong United. Booth uses the Whitehead screen, backs up, doesn't draw the mismatch, so Whitehead still got Rice to go against. Swain nearby, Whitehead goes up, fades to the left, couldn't get the bucket to go over the front of the rim. Jada Rice rewards her good defense with her own defensive rebound. Swain again to the rack, dub pass to Rice, but she dartboards out at the ring and never really got above 12 feet. Cunningham catches it in stride, has to stop. Bean. 11 on the shot clock. Booth now dumps it in to Tegan Cunningham. Has the height advantage. Decides to dish it off to Whitehead. That's well short. Scannell with the rebound. Now it's Ellsworthy, top of the key. Drifts across now, finding Petrie down low. Has it taken out of her hands? She may have got a knock to the face, but that wasn't seen by the referees. Young to the rack again, couldn't get it over. A couple of tired bodies, but then gets her own offensive rebound. Couple of pieces of the iron, and the first bucket of the second half comes via Nikita Young. Straight back the other way, Swain trips. It's going to be Young again. She's going to race down the bucket. Petrie's going to make a contest of it. Young does well to avoid, draws the foul. Petrie probably didn't do a heck of a lot wrong there, but picks up the personal, and Young has 4 points in about 12 seconds. Has a chance to make it 5 with a trip to the stripe. Petrie going and pleading her case, but not necessarily with the referee who made the foul call. Maybe more of a therapeutic chat more than anything. Young, no mistake. She came up empty last time, but doesn't do the same this time. Kitty Young with that three-point play is up to 8 points now. Swain stops it, pops, almost gets that to go. A little bit left. It's rebounded by Tegan Cunningham. The lead pass to McBean went behind her, and she reciprocated with the pass that went behind Nikita Young. And then down low, Cunningham uses her size advantage. Another foul and another bucket. The Cobras are on a roll. Cunningham just too big for Jess Scannell down there. And Scannell didn't foul her hard enough to put off the bucket. So Cunningham with a chance of another three-point play for the Cobras. She's up to 14, chance to make that 15 here. Cobras have 4 players in double figures now. Makes it. It does not count. She left. She went past the free throw line before the ball had hit the rim. I don't think she liked the look of it coming out of her hand, but I reckon she broke a little early. So she's indignant. She's not happy. Coach Watkins having it explained to him as well. For any of the girls watching this afterwards, I hate to be the devil's advocate, but I reckon there might have been a break. McBean just swipes it out of court with some good hands, avoiding the foul against the experienced Sarah Ellsworthy. Cobras up by 11. They have begun this quarter with a 7-2 run. Referee pushes Booth back a little bit, given the lack of room on the sideline down there. Ellsworthy looking for Swain down low. Nice pass to the opposite block. Rice with the fadeaway, no good. Booth Young, now it's McBean, corner 3 goes up, doesn't get over the front of the rim. That would have been huge for the Cobras. That would have given them a 14-point lead. Ellsworthy with a chance to keep it not only a single digits, off the glass and nicely floated in. Sarah Ellsworthy, what could have been 14 is back down to 9. Whitehead thought against driving against Rice. Goes this time now that it's cleared up a bit. On the left, no good. Another foul under there. That's the 3rd team foul for Geelong United so far in this quarter. Jada Rice was the one who picked it up. That's foul number 3 for her. And now the 2 leading scorers for United are both on 3 personal fouls in the mid stages of the 3rd quarter. They both remain on the floor. We'll need to be fairly careful. Now Whitehead is at the line. And she makes her first. Haven't seen a lot of her from the free throw line so far. So too early to judge, but so far so good this trip down. Makes 2 from 2. Cobras by 11 again. Lead pass up. Attempted bucket was no good by Petrie. Earns her own rebound though. Just out-fought Cunningham and Whitehead, both of which I think she gives up size to. Petrie, the real above-the-head release on that one. Rebound was long. It was tapped by Booth into the path of Whitehead. Booth gets it back. Easy bucket down low and it's missed. She's not happy with that. Went a little too easy on that one. Swain takes on 4 Cobras, does it successfully, almost successfully. I thought that was down. Young, contested 3, almost banked in, gets her own rebound, almost. No, it's Petrie getting her hands in the right spot and fighting off Young. Young wanted a little love from the referee. He's completely blanking her.
That's 8 seconds.
Swain straight into the path of Tegan Cunningham. And that's going to be her 4th. She went right through the chest. I was taught by the late, great Sharon Arnold that there's rarely a rarely an easy offensive foul call to make. That's probably the easiest. Now, Swain, they'll call a timeout, will Geelong, because they're now in an 11-point hole, and their star player, Shanice Swain, has 4 fouls. And we're not halfway through the 3rd quarter, so they might have to retool a bit here and figure out how to play the rest of this quarter at least without use of their star ball handler. Take this opportunity, despite the 11-point game and things getting exciting here. Give me an update on the VYC progress as both the Kilsyth teams headed to Melbourne to, I believe, MSAC, I'm assuming, yep, to take on the Tigers. Wait for an update for that one because those scores are still refreshing. Come on now, they were there and then they disappeared. Here we go. Third quarter, it is Melbourne 67, Kilsyth 57. Still a quarter to go there, but a 10-point deficit for the Cobras, who started to find some form in the VYC in the last couple of weeks after a fairly rough start. Cobras obviously playing without the likes of Hannah Day. They're led by Briley Anderson, super kid there with 17 points on 7 or 11 shooting, and then Keely Fander has 5 of 5 off the bench for her 11. Killer Panda making some impact there. As for the one in front of you here, as mentioned, it's the Cobras by 11. They've come out with a 9-4 run to begin this quarter. And they have possession with a chance to extend it even further here. And Geelong came out of the break, immediately earned a turnover against the Cobras, and their defensive pressure looked like it had really ramped up. I think they scored the first bucket, and ever since then it was it's all Kilsyth. And even coming out of the timeout, Coach Petty's had to call off the troops and say, no, I want you back. I don't want you up on the ball all the way up there. Whitehead spins, couldn't get the near right side to go. Good defensive possession to start for United. Ellsworthy guarded by McBean. Petrie to the rack, eventually cut off by Booth. She has to retreat. Scannell, 5 on the shot clock. Cunningham in front of her. Has to get it to the open. Petrie, no mistake, and it eventually worked for the United team. Big triple there from Lasha Petrie. Booth into Whitehead, skip pass across. Little short corner shot was ignored by McBean. Kicked out Georgia. Booth for 3. Nice wherewithal there for Georgia McBean to find her fellow Georgia outside the arc. Traded a 2 for a 3. Cobras get that one immediately back. Ellsworthy one-on-one against McBean, draws the foul, almost made it go as well. Did well to rip the ball across her body and draw the foul on McBean there, so Ellsworthy will head to the line. Caitlin Cunningham's replacing Tyra Whitehead. And Hannah Day will come in as well. She's replacing McBean. And Ellsworthy will return to the line. No mistake with her first. She's now 5 of 5 on the night. On the afternoon, pardon me. I think that's 6 of 6 for the over 80% shooter. Quick transition down for the Cobras. They've got most of their shot clock to still work with. Nikita Young decides against the 3. Gives it an extra pass. Step back 3 from Booth is short. Falls into the arms of Young. Ripped out of her arms by... Where's it down there? It's going to be a jump ball, actually. Lasha Petrie wanted the foul call. Referee explains that there wasn't one there. Now, she's talking still, and when the referee clutches the whistle while you're talking, you usually start to back off a bit, and Lasha Petrie wisely does so. If the whistle's dangling, you can almost get away with it, but the second it starts being clutched at, you want to let go of that. Ellsworthy uses her horn screens. Petrie now fakes the 3, gets into the bucket. Goes left, Jada Rice with the rebound and the putback. Too big and strong down there was Jada Rice. Into her account, Nikita Young went a little too early with the cross-court pass. The back-court pass was cut off. It was tapped out by Ellsworthy. So the Cobras still have 16 to work with. Young, wide open, 3-ball, Nikita Young. That just looked a little too easy out of the baseline play. I wouldn't even say it was a real energetic cut from Nikita Young. She just found herself open and the defense slapping. Petrie has had a couple of shots the last few times down. She's looking to drag her squad back into this, but that time unsuccessful. Young again, similar spot, similar result. Nikita Young, 6 points in about 10 seconds. It wasn't an exaggeration, but only slightly. Cobras out to a 13-point gap again, and an offensive foul. The illegal screen on Jada Rice, and now she also has 4 personal fouls. United will have a timeout to chat about it, but their 2 star players both in severe foul trouble. Not to mention the 13-point deficit they face. It did look like Scannell got really, really open, but it was done so illegally. So in this quarter, it's been an 18-11 quarter in the favour of the Cobras. Geelong haven't gone away necessarily, but the Cobras are threatening to run away with it, especially now that their 2 leading scorers in Swain and Rice both have 4 fouls. And they're likely to be sitting at least the rest of this quarter, which still has 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in it. Cobras have lit up from downtown the last couple of possessions as Nikita Young's just hit her last 2 from down there, and as many touches, no less. On the other hand, the Geelong squad's somewhat drying up there. We'll see how they respond to that. Just going through some stats at the moment. Young has overtaken both Booth and Cunningham to be the leading scorer for the Cobras. They've got 4 in double figures. Young 16, Booth 15, Cunningham 14, and Whitehead 12 for Geelong. Shanice Swain had 17 going into the halftime break, but picked up an early foul, and we haven't seen a heck of a lot of her since. Hasn't added to her account. Jada Rice is up to 12, but she too will be sitting here, and they're going to have to play small. They're really playing it though. There's a lead pass from Young was way too hot for Hannah Day. So not the emergence from the timeout the Cobras wanted for that. So Geelong playing very small. Their tallest player would be Lasha Petrie out there, I think. Who I don't think was hired to be the centre, but there's not a whole lot of a choice at the moment for their team. And she picks up the offensive foul, as I think it probably looked a lot worse as Cunningham went down a little after the contact. So it's probably half to do with a loss of balance, but the head dropped and Lasha Petrie picks up the offensive foul. And I hate to tell you, Geelong fans, that's 4 on her. So massive foul trouble problems for Geelong. 3 of their real leading players currently on 4 fouls. 2 of them on the bench. Hannah Day, corner 3, goes long. It's fight for the rebound, and Yarmayan did really well to keep it and then ward off Nikita Young. So I guess you don't need bigs when you got your point guards able to pull down rebounds like that. Petrie to the hoop, draws the foul on Booth, who got had their hands up the whole time until they weren't. That ball was just too tempting sitting in front of her face, but she grabs it illegally. So Booth has 2. In terms of the Cobras' foul trouble, not a whole lot to worry about. Tegan Cunningham and Nikita Young have 3 each. Which obviously isn't ideal at this point of the game, but it's obviously a lot better than having 4. Petrie makes her first. She's going to have to drag her squad back into this one. I wouldn't say single-handedly, but she's going to need to have a very big say in it. With 2 of her fellow starters hobbled with foul trouble, as is she for that matter. Young to the hoop. Classic Nikita Young right there. Got past Mayen. Mayen's certainly not slow necessarily, but Nikita Young is just that quick. King couldn't get the pass out to Mayen. Nikita Young back with the pick of the steal. Booth puts up a mini jumper. It just rattled around, teased the defense, thinking there may have been a chance for the rebound, but it never came back down until it went through the net. So the Young assist to Booth. Ellsworthy to the rack. No foul, hands in there. Dave thought to dribble the ball up the court, was mobbed and had to get rid of it. Now Nikita Young gets past King. Kicks it out from Scannell. Corner 3, Georgia Booth. Rattles in and out. Ellsworthy helps herself to an easy little rebound. Petrie the other way. Pulls up. Big 3 for Lasha Petrie. They needed that to Geelong. And now the pressure's coming on defense. Caitlin Cunningham has to get rid of it. Goes via her sister. They've got a second to get it over to the Cobras. They just make it. That's Tegan Cunningham. Big mismatch down low. Has to go through Mayen. Mayen did well to keep her ground. Cunningham went down. Mayen wins the day. Petrie for three. No, that would have been enormous. The fast break bucket the other way. Young just, oh dear. Oh, Georgia Booth. Three misses from directly underneath. Gets herself the ball back. If anything, just somewhat regaining some composure after three really, really gettable misses. So she's going to try top of the key three. Instead, that's short. Cunningham taps the ball off with a footer. Hannah Day. Outlet pass to Scannell was too hot. And again, some ugly basketball. But the Cobras have it. 17.6 left in this third quarter. We see the first of Nakia Dow is going to replace Lasha Petrie, who doesn't want to pick up her fifth foul on the last possession. Tegan Cunningham and Georgia Booth sit for this final possession. McBean and Whitehead come back in. 17.6 left in this third quarter. Again, the Geelong team really short. They've got Jessica Scannell playing as their centre at the moment. Whitehead, a little long. Caitlin Cunningham scoots in for the rebound, puts it up herself. Long arm. It's going to beat the buzzer. Does it count? It does. Tyra Whitehead. Big putback to finish the quarter. Restores the 14-point lead that the Cobras at one point had at 68-54 after a big third quarter from Kilsyth. And as mentioned last night at Dandenong, they hung with the Rangers for a solid half, and the wheels fell off in the third quarter. They managed to build upon their slight lead coming into this third quarter. They were up, I think, about 1 or 2 points. Get a little quick maths in my head here. It was 6 points, pardon me. It's 14 now. Geelong in a bit of trouble. Now, they are certainly not out of it because Shanice Swain didn't score in that quarter, having sat most of it with 4 personal fouls. So she is still, well, no, she's no longer the game-leading scorer, but she still leads her team with 17. Lasha Petrie has come alive in the third because there wasn't a whole lot of superstars left for United to do so. She's on 14. Jada Rice, 12 points, 10 rebounds. The 3 Geelong players I've mentioned all have 4 personal fouls. Literally the only other foul on the squad is a single one to Jessica Scannell. So their stars are the ones with their hands in the cookie jars at the moment. For the Cobras, it's Nikita Young with 18. Again, a big third quarter from her. Booth, 17. Whitehead and Tegan Cunningham each have 14. Cobras are shooting at 42%. I reckon that'll be one of their better clips over the course of the season. Geelong down to 30 at this point. And again, a scrappy game, probably evidenced by the turnover count, where Geelong has 18 of the things. Cobras only a little bit better with 15. So we have 10 game minutes left of this one. Is anyone from Geelong going to be able to step up and drag their squad back into it? They're starting the quarter with almost their strongest lineup. Shanice Swain will come back in. Jada Rice will come back in. They've got Ellsworthy, Scannell, and they'll go in as well with Jasmine King. The only non-starter out there is Jasmine King, but doing some heavy lifting after not playing a heck of a lot of minutes so far in this one, the Geelong local. The Cobras coming into it with McBean running the point. She's got on her wings Hannah Day and Nikita Young. That lineup's rounded out by Caitlin Cunningham and Tyra Whitehead. 10 minutes left. And Geelong mount a comeback away from home and continue their good recent form. Or can the Cobras finally break their duck? Long three was way too long for Nikita Young. First trip down the court empty for the Cobras. Swain pulls up. And that's the start you want if you're Geelong. Shanice Swain, having sat most of the previous quarter and almost frozen out, just comes and goes bang off the bench. Their deficit, down to 11. Nikita Young, almost invited to take the long shot, but decides against it. Hannah Day, to the rack, and a day couldn't get it to go. It's tapped into the hands of Whitehead. Decides to fade away from the bucket with the putback. And TYRA Whitehead with the first Kilsyth points of the fourth quarter. Swain just for 3 again. Shanice Swain is going to do this herself. And she is hyped. With fresh legs as well. I mean, as fresh as you can get on the second game of a back-to-back, but has sat for a fair while. Nikita Young tries to draw the foul. She does so. For the Cobra's sake, it was against Sarah Ellsworthy. That'll only be her first foul. That's actually called on Jasmine King. So Jasmine King's first foul of this one. Nikita Young with a chance to steady the squad a little bit with a couple of free throws. Tegan Cunningham will come in and replace her sister. Georgia Booth waits at the bench, which would suggest she's going to replace Nikita Young very shortly in this one. Cobras by 10. Swain has just come in and gone bang, bang, and has 6 points in the first minute of this quarter. She's up to 23 on the night. Young's first rattles out. She's 1 of 4 from the line tonight, uncharacteristically so for Nikita Young. Make that 2 of 5. She'll have a seat. In returns Georgia Booth. She goes straight to Shanice Swain. So we'll see what changes defensively this time down the court. Cobras are in their press. Tried to deny Ellsworthy the ball. She gets it anyway, so they retreat. Now Booth is arms out all over Shanice Swain. They're going to need to be. Ellsworthy couldn't get it to Swain, but Scannell's going to do the honours. That goes in and out. That's a good outcome for the Cobras. They need to convert on this end if they're to try to run away with this one. Booth couldn't get it into Keegan Cunningham, and the pass to Whitehead went behind her. Geelong ball, it is in the backcourt, so they'll get the 24 to work with. The referees confer and confirm. Really interested to see how Shanice Swain moves in this one. Although I've missed Sarah Ellsworthy going straight to the rack past McBean. I think everyone was worried about where Shanice Swain was, and Ellsworthy said, I'll take advantage of that, thank you very much. Cobras have got to get it across. They do so through Tegan Cunningham. The Geelong United defence has lifted in this one, although Booth has found herself open. That one goes well long. Confidence a little bit rattled for Georgia Booth at the moment. She's going to have to traverse the court to find Shanice Swain. That Rice screen is going to be coming. There it is. They get the arms in there. Swain tries to get it off. Rice does well to pick it up contested. Lefty hook is good. Jada Rice is chipping it as well, trying to get Geelong back into this. 7-point game. This quarter began less than 3 minutes ago with a 14-point gap. That's been halved in a very small amount of time. Whitehead is on an island out there. No one's bothering defending her out there. She's going to set a screen for McBean. Couldn't get past. The bench is loud. Tegan Cunningham. The float is long. Shanice Swain. Giant jump for the rebound. Cunningham trying to get rid of Scannell. Does a little, probably illegally. Swain for 3. Long, no good. Rice with the big rebound. Tegan Cunningham shoves her down, trying to contest that. That'll be foul number 4 for her. Assuming they call it, they just kind of converge. Don't know if they were checking to see if there was anything more with it. Lasha Petrie is going to come back in. She kept Geelong in it in the third. Was pretty much their sole avenue for scoring at one point. Now, Jada Rice has gotten up slowly. She's walking it off, but I don't feel like she's at 100% at this point. Geelong are making their run, and there's plenty of time left to finish it off. Swain, it's stripped out of her hands, falls into the path of Petrie. 6 on the shot clock. She has to go, puts the crossover right out in front of Cunningham. Almost makes it rattle in. The stop for the Cobras. They need to regain some of their composure here. McBean for 3. That would have been huge for the Cobras, but that goes long. Chance for Geelong to make it even less. Petrie almost made that go. Long rebound. Hill's going to chase it. Rice is going to chase it, pardon me. It's Swain. That's short. Made her first 2, the foul in the rebound contest, and that's the end of Jada Rice. There was a risk. I mean, there was a risk that Geelong needed to take, putting her back into this one in a 14-point hole. And up until that rebound contest, it had paid off. But Jada Rice now out of this game. She will sit with 14 points, 11 rebounds. She shot 6 from 9 from the field. And that's a big out for Geelong, and that's somewhat of a circuit breaker for them at the moment because they had a run on and she was a big part of that. So now they try to go without their star recruit centre. It still can be done, obviously. Booth to the rack, floats it up on the right, bobbles around, it goes in, and I think Booth needed that, having missed a couple of her recent shots. That might be what she needs to get back on track. Swain uses her crossover nicely. That is a tough bucket, Shanice Swain. 25 for her in 25 minutes. Booth stuck, has to get her way out. Possible fend-off not called. Booth can't make the bucket go after the defense gave up, wanting the offensive foul called. Back up to Swain. She's got a few to beat. Steps back for 3. It's almost saved by Jasmine King. Only ends up in the hands of Nikita Young. Now they've got time, although Young sees a gap behind Scannell. Gets there. Lefty up. No good. Foul is a late call. And that might be on... No, that is on Jess Scannell. She has fouls to give, but I think Lasha Petrie had a little bit of a heart flutter at the time. Coach Watkins from the Kilsyth Cobras will call timeout just to sort of settle his troops a little bit because they've given up 7 points of their 14-point three-quarter time lead. And if you got the timeouts, you may as well use them. Geelong roaring back on the hot hand of Shanice Swain. 25 points. In 25 minutes, she has 8 points in this quarter alone. I say this quarter, there's been less than 5 minutes played in it. Ooh, still anyone's game. Will Geelong carry their recent good form into next weekend, having won 3 out of their 4, or are the Cobras on the verge of their first win of the season? They've had a few close calls, the Cobras, last night not necessarily being one of them, even though, again, they did hang with Dandenong for a half. For Geelong, they want to sort of back themselves to make a finals run, and although it's very early to be talking about finals, you need to start thinking about that stuff if you drop the first 3 or 4 games. So they'll want to build upon, again, recent good form. But again, they're doing so without Jada Rice, who was fouled out. They've got Shanice Swain, 8 points in this quarter alone, 25 in total. But she's on 4 fouls. She's a mere hand in the cookie jar away from being fouled out of this one, as is Lasha Petrie, who had a big third quarter, was one of the only Geelong players to do so and kept them close enough to be able to make this sort of a run. For the Cobras, Nikita Young, 19. Georgia Booth, 19. They're backed up by Whitehead's 16 and 9 rebounds, and then Cunningham as well. Now it's Nikita Young at the line. She's only 2 of 5 from there tonight. This is a better chance than any to improve that percentage. She does on the first. She is 66%. She'll make 2/3 of them on this season so far. Probably lower than her expectations. And that's going to help her cause, making 2 of 2. It's a 9-point game. We are pretty much halfway through this final quarter. Jess Scannell doing the ball handling. They face no press coming out of that. The Cobras happy to try to just protect their bucket. Jasmine King, there's 5 on the shot clock for Petrie to work with. Can't get past Young. Puts it up over the D. No good. Ellsworthy swoops in for the rebound. It didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock expires in the background. Young goes anyway. And that's opened right up for her. That's Nikita Young's bread and butter. She worked a little less hard for that than she usually does to get to that spot. But a steadying bucket and 4 quick points for Nikita Young. She's up to 23. Petrie got the shoulder in front of Whitehead. The help defense came from Cunningham and the Teagan variety at the right time. And the Cobras, again, they don't have to rush. 11-point lead, although Young almost found herself open. Thought of the situation of the game before her own personal needs for that one. Looks to take on Scannell. Steps back, steps through, gets it up, draws the foul. Jess Scannell does not like that call one bit. She has 3 fouls, which is nowhere near the top of the list of foul troubles for Geelong. Coach Petty down there trying to plead the case down there. Doing so respectfully at this point, so without necessarily an agreement with the referees, obviously. Nikita Young makes her first, extends the lead to 12. This is a chance to make it 13 and all that bit harder for United to come back from. She does, found some form, made her last 4 now. Ellsworthy, quick pass up, Jasmine King. Finds Scannell on the other side of the key. She's got to take on Tegan Cunningham. A big obstacle to get over. The rebound almost stripped out by Petrie, but as Tegan Cunningham eventually mopping up her own good defence, taken out of her hands by Scannell, falls into the lap of Petrie. The Cobras just kind of let her go for that one, thinking there's no point fouling at that stage. They gave up the 2, but they can compose themselves down here on the offensive end. Although the half-court trap looms, they get it through the hands of Whitehead, taken by Ellsworthy, regained by Whitehead. She decides to get through a quick pass as Swain emerges. Nikita Young to the rack, left hand, no good, went a little too hard off the backboard. Petrie, back cut from Swain, does it well, has to scoop it up, couldn't get the contact off the backboard. Shanice Swain had the hot start to the quarter, but the defence has cottoned on to her wary ways. 3:07 left in this one. 9 on their shot clock now for the Cobras. Booth has it stripped out of her hands. It falls loose. Ellsworthy pick it up. Swain only barely controlled that one. Mark Watkins is down there. Kick at benches. He is mad. I have a feeling the Cobras girls are about to hear that. They still hold a 9-point lead. The fear is they're not going to hold on to it if that's how they're passing the ball. Now, Coach Petty, on the other hand, for Geelong United, he's down there thinking, we are still not out of this, and the last few possessions are evidence of that. It has been a scrappy game. There has been turnovers galore. We have 18 to Geelong, although that might have bumped up to 19. I'm going to double check that. I don't know if they have had one, actually. No, 18 all now. 18 turnovers for each squad. Now, you probably want to go into this stage of the game, maybe sort of 10, 12, something like that. But 18 is a pretty high amount, and that's probably testament to the sort of game that we've had today, to be honest. But it is nothing if not exciting, especially when you've got the likes of Shanice Swain with 27 points. She's shot 8 of 20 for a pretty decent clip of 40%. Lasha Petrie's up to 16. Jada Rice out of this game now, having fouled out. She had 14 and 12. Ellsworthy's emerged now with 10 points and 9 rebounds, which if you're getting 9 boards from your point guard, it's a pretty good afternoon out for the captain. For the Cobras, it's Nikita Young is up to 25. Booth 19. Whitehead 16. Cunningham 14. Coach Mark Watkins says on this broadcast here that if you want to win in this league, you need multiple people scoring in double figures. Well, the Cobras have 4. But for their, unfortunately for them, so did Geelong. So it's still anyone's game. The pass goes into Whitehead. They have to deal with this press to the Cobras. Skip pass over to Young, does so now. This is the tempting part here. You get through a press like that and you feel like you've got a numbers advantage, but the Cobras have time to burn. They need to use that. Cunningham can't get control after the original pass was tipped by Swain. Petrie picks it up. Jasmine King decides against putting it up herself. It's Petrie! That would have been huge. And there is a foul after the basket. After the attempt, pardon me. Georgia Booth will be assessed her 3rd personal foul. The closeout was enough to put Petrie on the ground, but it was after the shot, so the referee points to the sideline. As much as Lasha Petrie heads to the line, she's not going to be getting it from there. 2:30 left in it. Cobras by 9. Geelong not out of it yet. Jasmine King. Swain now. Brilliant start to this half. Gets it in there. Draws the foul. That's on Booth. It's called by the trailing referee. Saw hands in the wrong spot. So Shanice Swain will head to the free throw line. She's 9 of 10 there from tonight. Going into this weekend, she was 11 of 13. That's good for about 85%. Given a prolific junior career and the wraps on this particular young woman, I wouldn't be surprised if she makes both and just inches her Geelong United squad a little closer to being back into this one. Tyra Whitehead begging with her point guard, Georgia McBean, to go. She gets it over the halfway line, and now they can, I won't use the word relax, but the urgency drops off a little bit. Young has Ellsworthy ahead of her. The screen opens her up to the rack. Draws contact, no foul. Big rebound, Tyra Whitehead. She rebounded that down at her lap. Such was the low attempt from Nikita Young, but managed to get it up and over. Less than 2 minutes to go. Cobras by 9. Long three from Swain doesn't go. Ellsworthy for the rebound. Gets it. Tegan Cunningham will foul out. She marches to the bench as you get fouled out on a rebound contest. That always hurts a little bit more. You can kind of walk out thinking if you're sticking your hands where you shouldn't on, say, a ball handling assignment, then, okay, maybe I wore that one. Or you're stopping a free throw, or stopping a layup, I should say, not a free throw. But fouling out on a rebound contest just hurts that little bit more. Swain will inbound. Ellsworthy there. Swain back off the handoff. Big three attempt. Shanice Swain, that rattles out. And the Cobras will look to burn around 24 seconds this trip down. They didn't catch the press coming up the court this time. Really would after a missed basket, I guess. Cunningham to Whitehead. No one's really even looked at the rim at this point. Whitehead, easy little layup, but that's probably the dagger there. Tyra Whitehead scores off the drive. That puts her up to 18 points on the afternoon. That might even be 20, actually. Geelong call timeout. They've got one last roll of the dice. Coach Petty with some animated discussion with the referee there. Maybe just, again, a bit of venting. But it's a Cobras by 11. 1 minute 25 left. They may be on the verge of their maiden victory in this NBL1 South season. Geelong will have to come back via the likes of Shanice Swain. 29 points now for her. She's 2 of 10 from the three-point line. Both of those three-pointers were at the beginning of this quarter. I reckon a lot of those attempts have been as well, because maybe a little bit shy to drive given her foul situation. She's done the whole fourth quarter with 4 personal fouls. As has Lasha Petrie, who are all but a couple of seconds at the beginning of the quarter, has been on the court. She's got 16 as the next best scorer for Geelong. Jada Rice again out, fouled out, 14 and 12 rebounds. Sarah Ellsworthy, 10 and 10 boards. She's got 4 assists and 2 steals to go. That a decent little fantasy game there from the captain. It's also worth pointing out Ellsworthy has not stepped off the court in the second game of a back-to-back. It's a testament to just how much of an athlete Sarah Ellsworthy is. So Geelong have, probably as expected, decided to advance the ball. They sacrificed 10 seconds of their shot clock, but they get the ball in their own scoring half of the court. Referee waves at the sideline, and we are back into this one. Geelong need 11 points in a minute 25, and that's not how you're going to get it. The deflected pass lands into the lap of Whitehead. Foul possibly delivered on Sarah Ellsworthy, and that'll send Nikita Young to the line with a chance to extend what may be enough as a game-winning lead. Jess Scannell will come in. Scored, but has put up some big defensive stops, especially against some of her opponents that have been much bigger for her. So a decent outing for Yamayan. Young makes her first 12-point game. And again, this makes it at least 5 buckets if she can get it, and that's probably going to be game over from there. And she does. 13 points. Ellsworthy has got to get it up in a hurry and find a shooter. Uses her horn screen. Swain goes back door. Couldn't get the catch. Saves it, stepped on the line. Scannell put up the 3 anyway. Jamie Petty barking instructions down there. He's telling him to keep that pressure up in the ball at this point. Doesn't matter if they foul, they can stop the clock. They're going to look to trap Ellsworthy all over McBean. McBean gets it off to her centre, and Whitehead gets it over the line. Now again, the Cobras can wait. Young, there's a gap that she spotted. She could get into any gap she wants. She wanted the foul there, but none was forthcoming. Swain, I reckon this is going up. Foul called on the way through, so it'll be a bonus 2 shots. No bucket on that one. It's on Caitlin Cunningham. So Swain will head back to the line. She's 9 of 10 there tonight. Coaches each gather some guards. Have a quick chat with them while the free throws occur. Swain makes her first. She's now 12 of 13. I did say 9 of 10 before. I was wrong. It was 11 of 12. 13 of 14 from the stripe. Shanice Swain almost single-handedly keeping Geelong in it. Nikita Young almost loses control. They've got to get it over. They do so in time. Cunningham gets the scrappy pass. Foul off catch will be against Jess Scannell. That's her 4th. This one might still drag out. Geelong are not giving up, and why would you? You're close enough. It's 11 points. Chance for Cunningham to make it 13. Now, Caitlin Cunningham has just scored her first point on the night. She's none of 3 from the field, but she's gotten to the stripe, and this mid-range is probably her jam here, so that doesn't surprise me. 2 of 2. Steadying free throws for the Cobras from Caitlin Cunningham. And they are on the verge. A heavy screen from Ellsworthy. Another 3 from Swain. They're not necessarily going away. Big foul there. Ellsworthy went too hard. Immediately went to help Nikita Young back up, who's got 2 heavy hits in about the last 15 seconds. So Young will head to the line. Ellsworthy in no individual foul trouble herself. That's only her 2nd, although we're late enough in the game that that is not even a little bit of an issue. With that 3, Swain's up to 34 points. And that's especially impressive considering she sat most of the 3rd quarter in foul trouble. 34 points in about 30 minutes. Young misses her 2nd after making the 1st. 11 points. Petrie to the hoop, spins, gets around Whitehead, but goes a little too far. Geelong still not giving up. The defense is still going hard. Foul called there on Petrie. That'll be her 5th, and she will head to the bench. Nikita Young, a couple of words there. They might have gone a little too hard in her opinion. So she will head to the line. Well, Nikita Young, she's been there a fair bit tonight. She's 8 of 11 from the line. So Ellsworthy come out and Geelong empty the bench, and that might be just the white flag being raised there because we see Nakia Dow come in. She only played 20 seconds at the end of the previous half. Young leaves the first one short. Esther Herrera comes in as well for the last 19 seconds. The Cobras have broken the duck after going... Oh, big rebound. Caitlin Cunningham just using her height advantage. Couldn't get the foul call on the shot. She doesn't really mind at that point. Game's in hand. Dow, have a shot there while you got it. May as well. No, gets it off to King. Regains control. Herrera has to get it up. She's going to look for the handoff. Scannell add a little bit of respectability to that, but it's not. It's the Kilsyth Cobras finally breaking the duck after a hard-fought win against Geelong United, 88 points to 77. The Cobras are off the duck. They were 0-7 coming into this, and they could hang with teams for most of the game. We couldn't quite finish, but they've done that well tonight, even with the scare in that 4th quarter as Geelong United made their big run on the back of Shanice Swain, who led the game with 34 points in a couple of seconds over 30 minutes. Shows why there's, again, such big raps over the youngster from, where's she from? From Cairns? Yeah, from Cairns. It's a huge game for her. Geelong fought, but they couldn't quite eat into that 3rd quarter deficit that they they gave up, and the foul trouble really didn't help them as well. 34 points, 6 rebounds, 4 steals for Shanice Swain. They had Lasha Petrie with 16 and 6 boards. She had 3 steals of her own. Jada Rice had 14 and 12 before fouling out. For the Cobras, Nikita Young carried that team in the second half. She ended up with 28 points, the vast majority of which were in that second half. Add to that 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals and a cheeky block as well. One that may well make the highlight reel, no less. TYRA Whitehead, 20 and 12. She had a couple of assists with 3. She had 4 steals of her own and getting into passing lanes too. Not to mention the contributions of Georgia Booth, 19 points, 9 rebounds. 7 of those were offensive. She did not give up on a possession. 6 assists for her as well. The Cobras, 4 scorers in double digits. They shared the ball around as well. A really pleasing win for Coach Watkins, and that makes my life easier up here in the commentary booth for the men's game as well. Big fight from Geelong, but it's the Cobras finally off the bottom with their first win of the season. They are victors 88-77. I have been Aaron Tate. Thanks for joining us for the Women's NBL1 South action brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors. We will be back for the men in about 20 minutes. We'll see you soon.